I've traveled once the back of a sled with reindeer, and that was so much harder than the first trip because I couldn't move. I was just stuck at the back of a sled. And it was minus 50. Well, I always say minus 50 because how do you measure it? That's where it ends on a thermometer, minus 50. So it could have been 60, 65. I have no clue.
This is Life's Tough. Explorers are tougher. And I'm your host, Richard Wiese. Scratch the surface of an explorer and you'll find an adventure and a great story. This show is about their tales. This podcast is a proud supporter of the Explorers Club and the EC50 initiative, 50 people changing the world that the world needs to know about. For more information, go to explorers.org. Mikael Strandberg is one of the most respected explorers on this planet, and I'm just going to give you a short version of his CV. He has bicycled from Chile to Alaska, from Norway to South Africa. He's gone to Patagonia by horse, Yemen by camel, expedition through Siberia in the dead of winter. He spent time in Greenland with his own family. And probably the toughest expedition he's ever been on was riding a bicycle with me across the George Washington Bridge, which goes from New York to New Jersey. Welcome to Life's Tough, but Explorers are Tougher. Mikael, how are you?
Thank you, Richard. I feel really good to see and hear you again.
You know, it's interesting. If I think of you, you've really been through expeditions through extremes, heat, cold, and you've always gotten through with it with, I consider, a sense of humor. You always find irony in life. Are you still able to do that?
Yes, I think so. I would say I don't laugh as much as I used to do, and that's because I have two daughters, 8 and 10, and it is such a huge responsibility being a parent. And I'm by myself with the girls. Their mother, she lives in Greenland, so I don't think I laugh as much because I worry about these girls. They are doing very well, but for some unknown reason, I just don't laugh as before. I hope to rediscover that, though.
Are you telling me that being a parent is tougher than being on an expedition in 126 degrees in the shade in Yemen or in Oymyakon, Russia, where it's minus 60? Is it tougher to sort of handle sort of the psychological dynamics of a family versus being on your own?
Well, when we met last time, I didn't have any kids, and neither did you.
We had 5 between the two of us. Luckily we started late. Otherwise, we would have had 15.
I agree. And well, the thing is, I had no idea, Richard, that you could feel so much love for human beings. When they first arrived, I felt love, but for each day passing, I even love them more and more. And now they're kind of growing up, and it's the best people on earth that you deal with. So I worry for them. So we did this bicycle trip, 6 weeks together this summer, and they've never ridden a bike, and the chaos initially, the problems were, but they got a handle on it. And to spend these 6 weeks together with this lovely, best expedition I've ever done. But I worried more than any of the others.
But you have given a leg up to them that most kids I know, where I live in Connecticut, the idea of going on a day trip on bicycle with most kids and their parents is something beyond what they can do. So, for parents out there, how did you lead that expedition?
Oh, my worries first when we went to it's a near park here, and they couldn't get up on the bikes. They fell, but it seems like they have an attitude that I don't think I had that. They just get up and they get on with it, and they are positive, happy. So we set off, and I couldn't cycle behind them or next to them because when I saw how close they were to a serious accident, I had to be either way in front or behind, hoping things would go well. And it did. As quick as you give them the responsibility, they perform. That kids can do this. So they did 1,600 kilometers it started to snow at the end of it. they did better than me. They were in a better mood. I was just cranky and tired all the time, but they did the job. And these times in the tent in the morning and the evening,
I have to take a page out of your parenting because in America, we have a term called a helicopter parent. They sort of hover or they sort of drop in on every situation to ensure that their kids don't fail. You seem to, sort of grit your teeth, worry, but nevertheless let them literally fall.
The thing with life is, the good thing with being an old parent is that you've seen a bit of life. So you realize this is what it takes if you want to have as I see it, a reasonably good life. You have to live. So even though I'm worried, and I am, as you call it, to a certain degree, a helicopter parent, because I take them to football practice, and I feed them all. It's not like they do a lot of things. They just got in here and I heard they just threw all the things on the floor and went in for the iPads. So not a big change there. But once we're outside and get going, they perform and they love it. That's the thing. They love the outdoors.
Our mission is to empower the next generation of explorers. If you like this podcast, please recommend it to a friend and have them join the expedition. One of your favorite expeditions that you've done that I talk about a lot is to Oymyakon, Russia. And the reason I talk about it a lot is that it's the coldest city, I believe, in the world. And when it's cold here in Connecticut, I always in the kitchen go, Alexa, what's the temperature in Oymyakon, Russia? And it's always some crazy, crazy temperature.
That sounds good.
So tell me about Oymyakon, Russia. I have this vision of this brutally cold place. I know where Fahrenheit and Celsius intersect is at -40. So we're talking about the same things. But I know at -40, for example, if you throw a cup of hot water, it freezes well before it hits the ground. And at -70, tires actually split from the cold. So how do people live there?
Well, the amazing thing is that they actually do live there. And I did this expedition through Siberia for a year, and that's how we met. But I've been back twice, and I've traveled once by the back of a sled with reindeer. And that was so much harder than the first trip because I couldn't move. I was just stuck at the back of a sled. And it was -50. Well, I always say -50 because you can't. How do you measure it? That's where it ends on a thermometer, -50. So it could have been 60, 65. I have no clue. But it was really cold. And what I learned was, that the original gear of fur and so on is so much better when it comes to not moving when you're stuck at the back. So I just swapped all the modern gear against that and it worked really well. But it's nothing you use when you're skiing. And people, of course, they are used to this. And, they lose the tip of their noses here, all this. And it's kind of part of life. And that's why I love Russia and the cold areas. Their perspective is just, it teaches you so much of life.
The idea of losing parts of your body to the cold are very unappealing. So what's the life lesson there?
In many ways, life is so brutal. If I look back at Russian history, it's been a lot of drama since the first human being arrived there. And another reason I love Russia is that no matter what, they are so good storytellers. If I go out on the street here in Malmö and stop a person and ask them to tell a story, I'll be bored within 2 seconds. In Russia, everyone you meet have the drama of life and they can tell you stories that are just amazing. And the biggest of them all is that they seem to take life as it is. And they stick with it even if it's hard. And at the end of the day, you can sit down and read some Pushkin or whatever you want to do. This happens in the coldest of weather too. And that's why we went to Greenland. I was hoping to find the same Siberia in Greenland as it was there, but it was something completely different.
Isolated for Greenland is isolated because I think of Greenland just right off the bat as isolated.
Once you get into a settlement, the only way out is by boat, which is impossible in winter, or a helicopter. So you are surrounded by the sea with the most spectacular icebergs. Behind you, you have the ice cap and you can just head off for weeks, nothing. And life is harsh and hard. It is happening things which are tough and brutal for human beings in these isolated areas. And the family, once the darkness came, 24 hours a day, we just couldn't hold it together.
You mentioned Oymyakon in Siberia, and you sort of paint a little bit of a idealistic, I don't know if that's the right word, but you say that they take life as it comes to them. You're painting a different picture now of Greenland. Is it that your perspective changed once you were married and had kids?
Yeah, and if you looked at the Siberian time, I was moving from one place to another all the time. So I got all the good sides. People were very happy. Same in Greenland when you first arrive. But when you spend a year there, you kind of get involved in the small daily things of life. And if people, for some reason, do not want anything to do with you, then, it's kind of a very isolated life. And Greenlandic is also so much harder than Russian to learn, for example. And of course, perspective, as I was there to do a film as well about life in Greenland. My wife, she was fed up suddenly with this old, who know-it-all explorer, which I understand. She wanted, this is not what she signed up for. And I understand that. So she decided to find a new way of life. And I fully respect that. It could have been me.
It doesn't sound like a lot of your previous expedition training or team dynamics worked in that situation. It's a much different dynamic.
Honestly, I think it did make a difference at the end, all this training I've had. What also happened is that just after 3 months, my daughter turned blind. Just like this. My oldest daughter, Eva, and this was such a blow to life. I realized it when we were out. I was out trying to teach the girls to climb, and she kind of missed her steps all the time. And then I thought, what is going on? But of course, nobody could check it. There's not that type of medical care. And somebody said it could probably be cancer.
Oh my gosh.
So eventually we flew out, and it turns out she has a lifelong disease called uveitis, which is something which eats the eyes from the back. But we got medicine. She's back in Sweden now. She's cycling. She's a tough little girl. And we didn't know she's had this problem all her life with like child rheumatism, which is part of it too. So she can take any. She's really a tough girl. And in all this, me and Pam split up. Though today we are best friends, and she's exploring and I'm home with the kids, which is fine.
What did you learn most about yourself in life during this whole process?
Life is the way it is. And the quicker you accept that life goes up and down all the time, the easier it will get. And in every situation, try to stay positive and surround yourself with people who can give you a lot of love and support, which I got. I had some very good friends in the village. And, these things happen. So on the paper, of course, your wife leaves you and all this, finds another man. This is difficult. Of course, it wasn't easy, but I understand it. And it could have been me. During these circumstances with your daughter going blind, just chaos. I'm cool, whatever nowadays, thinking, these things happen. That's how it is getting old. You accept things as they are. And what I've learned during this pandemic is we got one chance, live. And that's what I'm teaching the kids now. Take the chance. And that's what we will do.
What you've gone through is more than just physical hurt. It is psychological. And the psychological hurt is something that keeps you up at night, and sleep deprivation is a horrible thing. When we first started this conversation, because behind you, you have a picture of Yemen and 126 degrees and in Greenland. I was going to ask you what was tougher, but it seems those are inconsequential to other things in life.
They are, the Greenland experience was by far the hardest. And it was a kind of a summary what you go through in life, all thrown at you in 1 year. But then, having spent so much time of my life traveling, I've seen people who has so much harder times in life, and I could put that on my perspective. Okay, so this happened, but we live in Scandinavia. Medicine is free because this medicine my daughter gets is like $7,000 a month. And, it's not anything we could handle easily anywhere else. And so we live here, we are privileged. These things happen, and then you move on with life as long as you don't become bitter, feel sorry for yourself. This is not my style to feel sorry for myself. So just slap in the face, okay, wake up, Michael, move on, do the best you can.
And you still have dreams. You have dreams of other television projects, other expeditions. What's the magic wand? What's the one that you would like to either share with your daughters or go on yourself?
Richard, I thought you people told me, 30 years ago, this will get out of your body. It's still exactly the same. I want to get out and do things. So on my plate now, I started this after Greenland. I started running. It was the only way for me to keep control of the pain. So I ran and I ran and I ran, and it became ultra. And it's been going on.
It's the story of Forrest Gump
in a Greenland setting. And then suddenly I realized this is tough and age, and I want to continue. So now I'm looking at longevity, age. How do you become a good elite explorer or an athlete at this age? So I'm training a lot, training harder than ever. So 3-4 hours average a day with two days rest in 9 days. So I'm targeting the North Pole the proper way. But to get to the North Pole, that means me and the girls, since I have nobody looking after them, we have to cycle to the start, which is Katanga, 12,000 kilometers. And we've done a 10th now.
So what is the proper way to, I skied the last 2 degrees of the North Pole. So what's the proper way to go to the North Pole?
As much as possible, leave, go from land onto ice and ski to the pole without any help.
Oof.
Which is, of course, not easy nowadays since it's getting less and less ice there. So as it looks like now, one is forced to go in the coldest, darkest time of the year. But what else can I do? So I want to, it seems like I could well become the oldest one to do it but it's the journey for me, kind of with my daughters, and then I kind of hopefully do this thing. But to do that, I will cross the ice cap of Greenland next year.
And this with 10-year-olds.
No, they're not. No, they are not coming on the ice cap, but they will cycle with me to Katanga to the start. Yes.
Wow, that is tough. And so I guess you have some inner drive or philosophy about growing old and being an explorer. It sounds like you're going to leave it all out on the field.
Well, what else to do? You've had this life. You know where the bar is set about living. I don't want anything else. I cannot do anything else. And to be able to survive in these days, like a white middle-aged man, there's not a lot of opportunities. So I will continue to do this because I'm still very curious on other human beings. And I just enjoy this harsh, brutal life. I've no idea why. And who knows, I might meet the woman of my life out there.
I was going to ask you, that question too. So you're open to still going high octane adventures, meeting the love of your life, raising kids. I think this is a great second act. I mean, I think, as you said, all of it is the journey to where you're going whether it be meeting that person or raising children or an adventure. It's really the journey. Somehow, once you get there, it's a little anticlimactic.
It is. Another thing you learn, of course, is to enjoy every day en route, both the difficult and the easy days. And being out with my daughters as I have it's the most fulfilling time of my life to see their happiness, or they are part of this life. They turn up next to you and ask, "How are you doing, Dad? You look tired," because they want to tease me all the time. When you see they bloom out, they love people they meet. It's a privileged life too, because the only people they meet are other people who are these girls who are doing, because they create a lot of attention when these two little girls with a lot of gear on their bikes turn up like nothing has happened. And they like the attention they get. Here they come, the Strandberg daughters. They like it a lot, and they want more of that. The older one with the eye disease, she doesn't care about these things. But Dana, she likes it. She wants to be in the center of attention. So it has a bit of everything. Most of all, we get tighter as dad and daughters. And the love we feel for each other is just enormous. My point of view, I guess they could say something else.
Michael, I think that the greatest expedition that you and I, and we haven't done it together, has been parenthood, raising kids, being active with them, being part of their life, feeling satisfaction from that. And that's something to be very proud of. That makes you, in my book, a very rich man.
I agree very much. And I just realized you climbed Kilimanjaro. How old were you?
I was 11, and I wouldn't do it with my kids. I don't. They need snacks every 10 minutes. So you've been a more of a taskmaster than I have.
I'm feeding them something every 10 minutes. These huge costs of the expedition one have that, because you have to feed them all the time, keep them happy, cookies, sweets. You do things that you're not allowed to do, but so you say, if you do it today, you might get McDonald's or something in the evening. They do it. What can you? That's life. You have to take away these things which might be important to you. That is not right or wrong. But if it makes them happier, you do it.
I started this broadcast by saying that you're one of the most respected explorers I know, and that respect for you continues. But you're also one of the toughest guys, and have one of the biggest hearts. Scratch the surface of Mikael Strandberg and you'll find a huge heart. Mikael, thank you for being on Life's Tough, but Explorers Are Tougher. You're a tough guy.
I feel honored indeed. You almost made me cry now. Those were nice words, Richard. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I hope you enjoyed our podcast. Now we have a little favor to ask. We'd really appreciate your support. So make sure to leave us a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode. See you out on the trail.